you're looking at buying for investment, look for properties that have laneways.
Okay. Or can add them, I guess, even.
Well, no, like the actual lane.
Oh, the actual physical laneway. Yeah. So I thought you meant the laneway.
No, because it used to be a deterrent, actually. People were like, I don't want to come through the laneway to park in my backyard and park in that back garage or carport. But now that those locations are...
Hello, everyone, and welcome to the show. My name is Hayes. This is Bamboo, Vancouver's property management and investment podcast. This week, we have Robin Lau back on the show from EXP, and you do a lot of work with land assemblies and stuff like that, so I want to pick your brain about that.
Yeah. I feel like you're going to pick my brain about a whole lot of things.
Most likely, yeah, absolutely.
Okay. That's just the beginning topic. I take it.
So with the land assemblies, one, are they still happening? As well as the building windups? For the
strata windups.
Strata windup, yeah. So are these still happening?
They are, but because developers really aren't purchasing much, it's stagnant.
Yeah, it seems like the whole market's slow, right?
Everything. So, I mean, I've still got a couple assemblies for sale. And it's actually one of these things where you assess it now, whether or not it's a good holding property for the developer.
Okay.
So back in the 80s, 90s, you would have seen a lot of builders picking up properties, even though they weren't going to develop them for years.
Yeah.
It was that buy ahead of time, get the dirt cheap, know that there's revenue there, that they can utilize it to hold it, or it was so inexpensive that they didn't care.
Yeah, they just hold on for
years.
So
you had a ton of the big guys picking up stuff. That they went, okay, that's like 10 years down the road. That's 15. We see that potentially transit could come down the road 10, 15, 20 years from now. So let's buy this hunk.
Okay.
And then the dirt's basically, by the time that they go to do it, it's free.
Yeah, because it's been paid off over the course of 10 years.
Which is why you'll see some builders in this economy still standing strong.
Okay.
Because they bought the dirt so effectively.
Yeah.
Where you have a lot of the newer builders that came in, had some really good success in the early 2000s and 2010 to 2018, sold out pre-sales, did all their sales, made some really good bank. But then they started building too much, too fast. Yeah. And that's where they're all in trouble.
Okay.
Yeah.
So it's funny that you mentioned about like in the heyday back there, because a lot of realtors jumped in at that time too. Easy money, don't worry about it. And now it's a slower market and you're seeing a lot of people hurting in the industry and in as far as buying and selling goes as well. Like everyone's feeling this pinch right now.
And you know what? So they should.
Yeah.
Because you can't come into an industry and think that you're going to be proficient at it and do a heavy duty career if you're coming in only thinking you're going to do paperwork and then you're going to be able to make a consistent life and a career out of it. That's not what this is.
So it's not like selling sunset? The bane of all realtors.
Yeah, but I mean, you and I both know, and our old managing broker, because we did used to be at the same brokerage together, our old managing broker taught the post licensing, and he was even in 2018, he was, by May, he had already taught as many new agents as he normally did in one fiscal year.
Wow.
That tells you in 5 months, you had that many people coming in because they thought it was fast. But my thing always, and you know it, is what do you bring to the table? What's your value? What's your knowledge? You can't just do paperwork and think you're a realtor.
Yeah, absolutely not. So going back to these land assemblies and strata windups.
Yeah.
How is a good way to start this and pick out if somebody was going to buy and hold one, say hoping the developer comes or to do it in the future or whatever, what would a good way to figure out if this is a good one? I know, for instance, you were looking at a strata windup, I believe it was in Port Coquitlam, and the building was in fairly rough shape. So would that be a good one to go into? But on the flip side of that, a developer is also going to know that building's in really rough shape, so they're not going to give you top dollar, of course. Right?
But you're not buying the building, you're buying the dirt.
Yeah.
And so that's where a lot of this comes to, is if the builder's going to look at it and he's going to say, let's just tear it down and rebuild because the zoning is already good density. I can make money on it. It's all good. I'll transition everybody out. The state of the building doesn't matter.
Okay.
But if they're looking at it I do have another one in Poco right now, actually, and it's a great one, in my opinion, but who am I?
No bias aside with the listing, right?
Well, no, it's not. It's because it's in good condition.
Yeah.
It's not in phenomenal condition by any means because it's 50 years old, but it's 16 townhouses, all identical size.
Okay.
If you do roughly as a property manager, $3,000 for a 3-bedroom, 2-bathroom,
give or take, in our current market,
16 to 1,800 square foot townhouse, right in the heart of, like, right on transit, right on everything. You do roughly $3,000 times 16.
Yeah.
Well, you got a nice holding income that it really, when we've run the numbers, it covers the mortgage.
Yeah, that makes sense then.
Hold it.
Yeah, but you have
and
to buy
then
16
wait for the dirt because right now, but they're all together, so it's being sold as a strata and it's being sold as a Y-cut. And they've all agreed to it. It's all in the minutes. They're all in agreement. And it's one of these locations that is in the 500-meter puddle of where the proposed new SkyTrain is going to be coming in down through Poco on low heat. Great holding. Why tear it down?
Yeah,
because it's a 1-acre lot. Why tear it down and build 6 stories when you're going to be able to eventually, like, do concrete?
Yeah, like a full tower.
Full tower.
I gotcha. And then as far as looking at them with detached homes and that, like, for instance, Burnaby has some areas that have massive lots that you can now put up to 6 units on. I don't know how you'd fit them on there, but you can.
Yeah.
What are some good indicators of, like, this would be a good one to pick up?
I hate to say it, but the number one thing that you're going to look for that's going to actually sell that property, laneway.
So yeah,
because you're going to be able to, in essence, build a duplex with suites below.
Yep.
With 2 laneways.
I got
There's 6 units.
Yeah, fair enough.
So that's easy. Now you've got parking considered. You've got accessibility. You don't have tenants crawling all over each other. Yep. So you want laneway and you want transit.
Okay.
Because you take away, and the city will give you some sort of understanding and concessions for your transit location. The laneway gives you the ability to build these 2 little laneway homes. Laneway homes. Then the other side of it too is when it comes down, and as we saw Vancouver do, down the road, you could even separate title.
Okay, yeah, and then you can sell them separately, which is
there you go.
Also very interesting.
It is. You get into like this and this and this, like it dominoes. So it's like, does it have the potential to go from A to Z?
Yeah.
And if it does, then maybe the developer builder only sells off a portion of the PIDs.
Yeah, that makes sense.
And then now he's made back the money he needs, but he's got this great holding property that maybe have 2 or 4 or 6 of, like, the whole thing that's left of the 6 plexes. They're actually doing that in Surrey now too.
Huh. I mean, Surrey has a lot of sprawl, so they can kind of start to do that sort of thing.
Yeah.
Also, just for those who are listening, PID stands for your property identification. It's how the cities see your home as opposed to 666 Elm Street or whatever. It's
the legal notation.
Yeah,
on it.
yeah. Just so in case anyone was like wondering what the hell is a PID.
Yeah. Sorry, it's the jargon.
So let's choose violence today.
Uh-oh.
There's been that announcement of the provincial and federal government purchasing about 2,200 vacant homes. Some people feel that this is a developer buyout. What are your thoughts on it? And do remember that your email is going to be at the bottom, so all the guff is coming to it.
It's funny because I have followed it, and it's really not moving very fast.
Yeah, it's not to me.
It's Conservative Party is fighting it in-house. The Liberals, they actually just had a argument in-house, and it was a 5-4 vote. So it's really controversial.
Yeah.
Because the Conservative Party is holding the Liberals accountable, and the Liberals don't have a full-out game plan yet. Why announce something if you don't have your game plan done?
Yeah, it seems a little half-cocked, eh?
It is a little bit. And they're announcing in BC, okay, so we're going to get 150 million. This is what's proposed. You're going to get 150 million from the federal government throwing in for the BC portion.
Yeah.
Well, it's supposed to be $1 billion.
Yeah, so 1.5 million is not a big...
they're hoping that the mortgages are going to cover. Well, you haven't really run your number. That's like going to buy a house without getting pre-approved.
Yeah. It seems it does seem a little half-cocked.
Well, the other side of it too is that they're sitting there talking about the fact that they're going to look at Fraser Valley, Okanagan, and the island.
Mm-hmm.
When the real need, the way that I can see it, and you know more than I do on this one, is the vacancies in Vancouver. Mm-hmm. And there is distress, but it's also, how do you get servers and people in the industries to be able to live downtown and fill these units, which they should, to be able to work close, like live in and work close to each other, instead of somebody being a server getting off at 1 or 2 in the morning. Yeah. Transit's now down.
Yep, exactly.
They're having to send an Uber, take 2 hours of their salary just to get home.
Yeah.
It's really poorly thought out.
Yeah, absolutely.
Really poorly.
It's funny you mentioned about the service industry jobs and that. Our guest, James, last month was just talking about that same thing about if everyone has to live outside of Vancouver, who's going to work at Starbucks, who's going to work at Subway and, all these other places, because they can't afford to live down here. So it's there's no silver bullet to this one. And I mean, I did like part of it was talking about that they're working on a rent to own sort of thing, which I do kind of like this idea, just in the sense of at least helping people get in. Because one of the things that we've noticed from the rental side of our business, obviously not our sales side, but on the rental side, that people are paying more in some cases than they would be for a mortgage. But because all that money is going to rent, they can't save up for the down payment. So that's tricky, because it's just interesting that, you have a tenant who's been paying their rent religiously, has never missed a payment, never late for 4 years, clearly can handle a mortgage, but they don't have the down payment because it's all going to rent. So I kind of like that idea. Again, it's not fully cooked, but at least it would help people actually get into the market who can obviously afford a mortgage. They just don't have the down payment because they don't have that extra little hop, and it's tough.
The other side of it that's really wonky, and I don't know if you remember, but back in 2011, 2012, maybe, they did do a same proposal for first-time buyers, a rent to own, and they proposed using RRSPs as the down payment or the leverage for. There were all kinds of things, but it never got underway. Yeah. Because at the end of the day, for the buyers, they still went through twice as many holes to jump through. I'm really out of my conversation skills here today, but they couldn't get it together, and the plan was poorly put together. Yeah. So I feel like I'd like to wait and see what happens with this. Mm-hmm. Would I like to see buyers helped? Yeah. Would I like to see a little bit more of an initiative? And would I like to see that the rents that they've been paying for a long duration of time actually goes towards their qualifying?
Yeah, absolutely. It'd be great to see that. Arbitrarily, if it was, you didn't miss the rent for 2 years, give them, instead of 5% down, 2.5 or something to make it within hitting range here, because they've shown less risk. Right?
And especially when a downturn market, give them 2.5 right now when we're at our bottoming out and we're at the lowest we've been in a very long time. Yep. The market can go down a few more points, and it will. Mm-hmm. We still haven't bottomed out, and that's just my 2 cents on it. But at the end of the day, when you look at it and say, we're not in this crazy escalating that the bank's going to be underwater on what they're helping a first-time buyer do, then it's one of these things where it's kind of a win-win for everybody. And maybe the government needs to maybe do a side pre-qualifying, they pay the down payment on it and let the purchaser decide what they're going to buy. Mm-hmm. Because right now you would take away that whole entire bailout. Yeah. You take away that conversation, get a little bit more creative, get a little bit more in tune with what the buyer is actually looking at, because you might have 10 of them in Cloverdale, but you might have 100 in downtown Vancouver.
Yeah. Yeah. I understand what you're saying there.
So I think it's relative to where the buyer needs are instead of them determining. And you may fail by buying 100 out in Sardis. Yeah. And you'll only get 10 buyers for it.
Yeah, exactly.
And then the government's left holding this inventory that even if it's 500,000 a pop, 10 of those, you're looking at $5 million.
Yeah. And nobody's occupying them.
And nobody's occupying them still. So now you've created a bigger problem because your money could have been used somewhere else.
Yep, absolutely.
So, it's an interesting conversation.
Now, it does talk about that they're trying to buy the empty ones, which comes to my other one. Is pre-sale dead? Like, what there used to be people that were buying it all the time, and people wanted to buy it and get these lifts. You were talking about realtors that were just filling paperwork out, not actually really doing any of the realty part of it. Do you think that is it a safe bet anymore? Is it a good idea to buy pre-sale these days?
I know there's a lot of agents out there, and I'm not one of them, so my opinion is very askewed. Mm-hmm. But it's always been a conversation, is pre-sale ever a safe bet?
Yeah.
Because there's so many variables. So it's really, buying a pre-sale, in my opinion, has always been like buying a stock.
Okay.
Have you done your research on the back end for the builder, the location, the type of construction it is, the timing, the city that they're building in? There's all these things. So, sure, I've got clients that have bought pre-sale, mm-hmm. but we've definitely gone through, instead of just going, oh, that's pretty.
They all look the same anyways.
Pretty much. But realistically, yeah, there's been some amazing opportunities to buy some great pre-sales, mm-hmm. but there's also a lot of things that between the time of getting the building and development and building permit to actually finished product, cities have changed bylaws. Like, look at what happened here with the ARC. They purposely built that for the investors so they could do Airbnb and short-term rentals, so that the whole entire tourism industry could have families afford to come here, because they'd have a small kitchenette, they'd have mm-hmm. these things. Well, then the city changes their mind.
Yeah.
And now that whole entire building, after and during COVID, mm-hmm. it happened. So you've got investors that thought they were going to be doing great money on it, and then now all of a sudden they're being told no, so they're selling and they're taking a hit on it. So it's like selling a stock.
Yeah.
After it's dropped, right? It hurts.
Yeah.
Do I see pre-sales right now? No.
Yeah.
Would I put any of my clients in it? No. Would I wait to see inventory that's sitting stale for a while and mm-hmm. go walk in and make a deal with a developer to say, not only am I here to help you out and bring a buyer to put some inventory, but I'm helping my clients.
Yeah, fair enough.
I'd like to see you make a little bit of profit on it. I'd like to see my clients make some success on it. They can actually walk the product and move in 2 or 3 weeks. Mm-hmm. It's a win-win for everybody.
Yes.
Versus the comment going back, the government wants to make sure that the developers make no money. They're going to bottom line it. Well, how fair is that? You put in the time, you put in the effort. So they're saying, oh, here, work for free.
Yeah.
And just give us your product. I don't agree with that either. Builders are in business.
Yes, absolutely right. Now, you did touch on that you think that it's actually going to go down a few points as far as our sales side. Now, our stats from the board has been showing that there's been more activity, more people are purchasing. We still have, of course, a boatload of inventory because people were not really having the appetite to purchase, and which is also kind of surprising to me, because with prices being down so much, this is the time to purchase. But that's a whole other ball of wax. When do you think it's going to start going back up, or what would be some indicators that would, is it just a matter of eating through the inventory that we currently have, or do you think that there's other flags that would show us hey, it's go time now?
You know what? I think if you talk to any analyst right now, nobody's got a number and nobody's got a timeline.
Yeah,
it's really one of the most craziest times in history that I've ever seen. Mm-hmm. And that's coming from an older broad. I'm not kidding. I bought my first houses in the 80s mm-hmm. at almost 20% interest.
Yeah.
And you survive. We always survive mm-hmm. and we get through. But the reality is, you've got international business going on and you've got conversations that aren't hitting home. Mm-hmm. You've got local politicians that are making decisions that make no economic sense for its territory.
Yeah.
And we don't know what's going on down in the States completely. So there's just
I don't think they know.
I know. And nobody really knows. Nobody knows. But that's just it. Globally, nobody knows what's going on.
Yeah.
And so if I'd be an idiot to make a comment.
Yeah.
I really would. Do I see it going down some more? Yeah, I do. Okay. Because we just had an announcement last week mm-hmm. that our inflation went down a little bit. So then right away people want to go, oh, does that mean interest rates are going to drop?
Yes, no, we got other stuff to deal with.
There's way more that they've got to take into consideration. Absolutely. Here. And if they make a reaction because of one small movement, does that take away the benefit of what we've just done?
Yeah, exactly. And there is no silver bullet for it.
This one.
I do like the fact that they're just kind of staying still right now, because there's a difference between staying still and doing nothing.
Yeah.
Right? So I do appreciate that. Which kind of answers my next question, is saying, what do you think kind of caused this correction? Which I imagine is just the uncertainty of everything that's been going on. Do you figure?
I think there was a lot of poor decision making. I thought there was a lot of... I was hoping, going way back, I was hoping that when we did the free trade agreement, that it would have been a free trade, and it would have been much more, but than it was and what it's ended up to be, because I don't see the relationship between Canada, US, and Mexico being as fluid as it should. But I also don't see, again, just my 2 cents on it, I don't see Canada standing up trying to be independent and making some proper decisions and making moves that they should, so that we're a little less dependent on the people south of us. Yeah, it's hard to... I'm not an economist, but do I watch things that make me worried? Yeah, for sure. And the pressure I see on the local people, the energy, the way that people live, the way that people aren't living. Yeah. The communities are suffering, and it's just, I think that the way of life here is suffering more than people will ever give them acknowledgement for, and it's too bad. Yeah,
it is unfortunate. We're in definitely some weird times that, and as you said, we always get through it, and it changes eventually,
but with what scars?
Yeah, fair enough. But I mean, it might be a longer road, but we will get back, I would assume. I mean, maybe I'm sitting here with rose-colored glasses or something, but I just can't figure that this is the end of the world.
Oh, it's not the end of the world, but it really is an adjustment and shift on what we've known.
Yeah, fair enough.
Yeah.
So now, with the prices being quite low, and you figure going a little bit lower, is there any really good pockets that you're kind of seeing in your travels that are check more towards here, or any smoking deals that you can think of kind of offhand that you've seen in your travels?
Yeah. Detached houses
right now.
Yeah. Because why? I've got a few people that were qualifying for townhouses. And I just put a full stop on it and said, no, we're going to get you requalified.
Yeah, because
now you've got solid jobs that aren't going anywhere. And you qualified for X amount of dollars in strata. But what people forget is that when you qualify for detached with a suite, you now actually qualify for more because you have an income helper versus the strata fees as an income detached, like a deterrent.
Yeah.
So for what you qualify for. So now all of a sudden, let's use a round number. Maybe the person qualified for $900,000 in a townhouse. Well, now they qualify for just under 1.2 on a detached, where you're looking in, good example, Tri-Cities, detached in Coquitlam, Port Coquitlam, you could have seen detached being anywhere from 1.4 for needing a lot of work up to $2 million.
Wow.
Now you've got them going anywhere from 1.1 or $1 million for the one that needs a bit of work.
Yeah.
To 1.6, 1.7.
It's a significant drop.
Yeah. And then you're also seeing areas that during that big 2018 push, we had houses all the way from Langley to Chilliwack, all garnering the same price point. I just stood there going, what the, no time in history should that kind of a commute.
Yeah.
And especially heading out to Chilliwack with no transit, no trains, no nothing. Because Langley at least has the rapid bus to get into Vancouver down the highway. I mean, you've never seen anything like that. And you sat there going, where's the logic? Well, it was people that were leaving Vancouver that had a big amount of cash, and agents were like, I could do a deal. I could do it quick. But you're skewing the market value. You're skewing what was. And now you can go back to Chilliwack. No word of a lie, you can get a detached house for $800,000, $900,000.
Yeah, I've actually got a mate who's thinking about selling his place out there, and he's really not happy with the pricing that is there because he bought a few years ago, and it's not lining up well for him. So he's trying to figure out what his move is, because he's debating about whether to shrink down this place. The family moved out, kids are older, all that sort of thing. And now he's like, it's not the right time because...
Well, it's not even the right time to even consider pulling equity out of it.
Yeah, because it's not going to pull as much as you probably need. Right?
Exactly. Yeah.
So that actually leads in quite nicely to what are some of the biggest mistakes that sellers are making? Because, we've already kind of determined that buyers should be buying and they seem to be not be. As far as sellers go, what is their main
expectation?
Just
get on board with understanding that almost every single area market, depending again on neighborhood, but in the last almost 2 years now, we've seen 25% decrease.
Yeah.
So when you're looking at your BC assessment,
just chop 25 off.
Chop. I say at a starting point, 15 to 20 points off. If you've upgraded it, if you've added to it, of course your city and BC assessment aren't going to know all those things. So maybe you do sell at assessment, where before you would have looked at your assessment and gone, okay, I'm going to go 20% higher because of what I've done.
Yeah.
BC assessments are never market value.
No,
but the buyers and sellers, God love them, they always go to it.
Yeah.
So that's the only reason why I reference it right now, is that as a seller, they look at it and an agent sits down and tries to do a listing presentation to them and saying, well, granted, your BC assessment is 1.6 million, but I suggest that we sell at 1.475. They look at the agent like the agent is just trying to do a fast deal, where the reality is I have multiple of them where I said to the clients, this is what it is. I'll give you 1 month at your price.
Yeah.
And then after that, you need to recognize between lack of showings and lack of inventory, lack of interest and lack of people even inquiring about your property, that I'm not wrong.
Yeah, it's a tough pill for some people to have to swallow that down. It's the same thing. I've run into that on the sales side with my sales business. I've also run into the same thing on the landlord side. Last tenant I was getting X amount. Like you can't now. It's not there.
No.
Right. So
no, not at all.
If you want to sit on the market and do nothing, go ahead. But this is kind of the reality of the fact is, the expectations are it's tough right now.
Well, it's funny. I had this conversation with a friend and I literally said to them, if any of you parents are wanting to get your kids out of the house, get them out now and put them into rentals, because they can actually negotiate a little bit with a landlord instead of leaving it vacant.
Yeah.
And the landlord is going to start gaining some funds for their rental.
Yeah.
But your kids are going to get in on a time that they don't have to, like 2 years ago, line up down the street.
Oh, yeah.
And you're interviewing people going, eeny, meeny, miny, mo.
Exactly.
And who wants to give the owner a little bit extra money than they're asking, and then you can have it.
Yeah.
So, I've said to them, maybe it's time to get your kids out of the house. Because maybe they actually could afford it right now.
Yeah, it's as I said with the landlords, you're just talking about how basically we're lined up down the street. So a lot of the landlords that we work with now, they're like, then we'll be able to pick from which applicant. It's like, there's generally only like one, maybe two, right? Depending on where you are. I mean, you obviously try to price it so you can get some extra applicants. But again, because the rents are down, they don't want to get involved in that. So it's everything is down right now.
It's a really hard catch-22 as well, because then you've got some people that are, I'm going to get out, I'm going to try and sell because I'm not going to net what I need to cover the mortgage on it, and then they sit on the market forever.
Yes.
So it's a difficult time. I mean, the only thing that I think that I would say, and so 2018 is 2017, 2018, 2019, really, really good example. We had people going in and buyers were lining up at houses.
Yep, I remember
to do the multiple offers and make crazy bids on houses, anywhere from 50,000 to 500,000 over asking.
Yep.
In this market, get in with your mortgage broker, get in with your agent, and get in with somebody that understands the dynamics of it, because you are going to have the reverse right now. This is the buyer's market. Get yourself going and get yourself understanding, because that house that you've been dreaming of, you're not going to have to pay over for it. You're going to be able to negotiate really, really well on it. I've done multiple in the last couple months that the offers that have come through, my sellers were like, what? We've had no other offers. You've been on the market how many months? And do you want to still stay on it and carry the costs on it? Or do you want to move?
Yeah. It's like if the market's speaking, you got to listen sometimes.
And we still have the ball's still rolling downhill. And I don't know what your next offer is going to be.
Yeah. Yeah, absolutely. Well, there's a realtor that I'd spoken to a long time ago. They said that when the market speaks, it may be cruel, but it doesn't lie.
Never.
So
never, ever.
Advice that I've taken, it just stayed with me my whole career.
Yeah. The only thing that I do say, and this is a disclaimer for other agents, just please remember that when you're doing these crazy lowball offers, you are actually affecting the entire neighborhood comparables and the market value. And so your client might think that they're going to be able to come in and take $400,000 off of asking. Well, maybe that seller is motivated, but please remember you're affecting all the other homeowners in that neighborhood, and fair market value is still fair market value. Scraping a deal is great for that buyer.
Of course, but that's who they're working for.
Exactly. But at the end of the day, it's still our job to respect the sellers. And if the sellers are at a reasonable spot and the agent has priced it right, I just think there's a respect factor here too. It's kind of the same thing about the whole multiple offers.
Yeah, I mean, I guess I saying that I understand where you're coming from, but by the same token, like if somebody's hired to work for their client,
I get
buyers trying to get lower price, sellers trying to get higher. So
I agree, but I'm just maybe I'm an advocate for the right thing. Like it's not going into department store and buying off the 70% off rack. We're still at the 25% off rack.
All right. I understand what you're saying there.
Yeah.
So now you've been doing this for quite some time as far as selling and buying homes and that. What is one of like the weirdest things that you've ever come across in a showing? It's like we all see, because you're walking into someone else's home. So you see how other people live. What's like one of the weirdest things that you've ever come across, or funniest, or what was out there?
Oh, I recently showed one with tenants in it. And as a property manager, you'd be like, who actually vetted these people? They took the living room and they built a platform and they put a bed mat, like a mattress on top of the platform. And then they put a couch. So they sort of created their own sleeping, living couch.
Oh, like so everything
like
was
a movie room, theater kind of thing. And then you go around the corner and they've put a massage bed and there's somebody passed out there. And it's like, okay, did you sublet to them? And just the conversation that the other tenant was giving us about that person. And that same place, we couldn't go through 2 of the bedrooms because they had monster vicious dogs in there. So I was like, tough this is just not checking any boxes because I can't even go through and view it.
Yeah, fair enough. Right.
And crawling all over. Yeah, that's probably my worst one. My craziest one, 50 Shades of Grey.
That's one of the ones that I ran into. We were doing some showings and everything was fine on the main floor. And then we went downstairs and I was like, holy hell. And it took me a minute to figure out what was going on. But then I'm like, oh, this is like an S&M.
It was I've been in a chamber.
And I was like, oh, yeah, that makes sense. And it was funny because I could see my buyers at the time, the gears starting to click like, yeah, don't touch anything.
It's funny though, because as agents, we see a lot of funny stuff. Yeah. I have a buddy in Ontario and he actually sent it to a whole bunch of us. And he said, my sellers were actually adamant that we showcased this room. And it literally was almost identical to the one in 50 Shades of Grey.
I haven't seen that.
Okay. Like it's like walls with whips on it, like the suspension, like handcuffs. It was just a whole thing.
Yeah.
And the owners were adamant that it was in the brochure. They wanted it showcased. I was like, okay, is it something about that neighborhood that's like a little well-known niche thing and people know about it? I don't know, but hey.
Hey, did it sell?
Everything eventually does.
Well, that's the important part, right? Yeah. Did it sell?
Yeah.
So I guess we'll finish off really with So if someone listening today wants to build long-term wealth through Greater Vancouver real estate, what's one piece of advice you'd give to them other than work with Robin?
Start watching where growth is happening.
Okay.
Right? We've got conversations going. It's people look at Vancouver, Burnaby, and a little bit of the rollout, but start really looking at the rollout and what the plans are, because that dirt is gold.
Yeah, so like look towards like Langleven, would you say, or is that sale?
Yeah, because we've got the SkyTrain going through.
Yeah.
So when you look at the parallels, it's the same thing going down Lougheed Highway. They're talking about all of that as well. So you've got these two paths that are literally showing you this light, right? So, and there's also learning what the puddle effect is, because when you're right on transit, you're going to get high density. You got your high rises. Yeah. Then you go to low rise. Then you go to townhouses, and then you go to detached. So you don't need to buy right on what the proposed SkyTrain path
just a little off.
Just a little off, and that dirt's even worth really good money. If you're looking at buying for investment, look for properties that have laneways.
Okay, or can add them, I guess, even.
Well, no, like the actual lane.
Oh, the actual physical lane. Yeah. So I thought you meant the laneway.
No, because it used to be a deterrent, actually. People were like, I don't want to come through the laneway to park in my backyard and park in that back garage or carport. But now those locations are money. So even if you're looking at buying your first house, buying with those extra little features to them, down the road, it'll do you well.
Okay, so look for generally where transit is and just outside of it, the puddle effect as you named it. Yeah. And anywhere with a laneway would be the physical laneway, not the laneway hole.
Yeah, exactly.
Wicked. Well, thank you very much for coming on the show.
You're welcome.
It's much appreciated. And thank you very much if you've been listening this long. My name's Hayes. This has been Bamboo, Vancouver's property management and investment podcast.